Alright, this is our last installment today, folks. I know you're very, very sad to see Chapter 8 come to a conclusion. This is the core case study. Why should we care about coral reefs? Why should we care about them? Well, let's talk about them first. So coral reefs form in clear water in the coastal areas, in the tropics and subtropics. Well, guess what? We as Floridians live in a subtropical climate, so we get coral reefs. Corals are indeed animals related to anemones and jellyfish. They consist of a limestone structure, and they need the calcium carbonate out of the water to make that limestone. It's filled with thousands of small, teeny tiny polyps that are related to the anemones and jellyfish, and they actually have stinging tentacles that they use to shoot and capture food. All right, pretty sweet. However, this coral, right, is only able to produce about 2% of their own food. That's it, with these stinging tentacles, just 2%. So they rely on a mutualistic relationship with an algae called zooxanthellae to survive. So the coral reef's structure, calcium carbonate structure, becomes home to the zooxanthellae. In return for providing them with a home, the zooxanthellae give them 98% of the food that they need. All right, so the product of photosynthesis is glucose, sugar. So the coral gets the sugar from the zooxanthellae as a part of this beneficial relationship. So the colors that we see of the coral come from the zooxanthellae, because coral is just white, because its skeleton structure is calcium carbonate, which is white. So why are they important? They house photosynthetic organisms. You need to take in carbon dioxide to make the sugar. So they remove CO2 from the atmosphere. They act as a natural barrier that protects the coastlines. Right? And remember, in one of these prior lectures, we said that the neritic zone of the ocean was only 10% of the ocean, but 90% of the ocean's organisms lived part or all of their life in that in the coastal zone, the neritic zone. Most of that is here in these coral reefs. Right? These little tiny organisms seek refuge from the bigger fish and etc. through the food chain in these coral reef ecosystems. And they're only on 15% of the world's coastlines. So there is tremendous quantities of our ocean's fish and wildlife here in these coral reefs. So if you lose them, it would be catastrophic. So yeah, provides habitat. Beautiful. So why are coral reefs endangered? One, rising water temperatures. So blocks the photosynthetic reaction that converts carbon dioxide into sugar. It slows down that reaction, right? The warmer something is, in this case with photosynthesis, the slower that reaction is. So this results in a buildup of products, waste products that poison the zooxanthellae. So the zooxanthellae is starting to die within the coral. So to save itself, the coral reef, not wanting this accumulation of toxins from the zooxanthellae, spit out the zooxanthellae, right? And all you see behind them is the white coral structure, calcium carbonate structure, which is why they look bleached or white, and that's coral bleaching. It is the coral reef making the decision to get rid of the photosynthetic algae in an effort to sustain itself. However, it can only provide itself with 2% of its food, right, with its stinging tentacles. That's it. So without the zooxanthellae, the coral will eventually starve to death. 2. Soil erosion. By development of the sand dunes, of the coastlines, it makes it easier for the wind to push the sand into the neritic zone. And what it does, it actually fills up all the spaces and gaps of the coral reefs and covers it, right, in sand, and your coral reef system is lost. Increased UV light due to a lack of ozone layer in the stratosphere. They're very light sensitive. Collection for aquariums, believe it or not. When Finding Nemo came out, there was massive coral reef loss across the world because everybody wanted two things. One, coral for their tanks, and 2, clownfish. And the easiest way to capture clownfish is to go and blow up a part of the coral reef, which stuns all of the fish living there, and then you can just pick them up out of the water. And then when they come to, they're in a little plastic bag and you're taking them to an aquarium. And chemical runoff. The chemicals and toxins kill them. In fact, not only that, but certain sunscreens. Everyone wears sunscreens when they go into the water at the beach. It leaches off your body, gets into the water, and actually damages and kills the coral reefs. What do? Get burned or kill coral? I don't know. And that's that. Thank you for joining us today on this fine edition of AP Environmental Science Core Case Study, Coral Reefs.